All right, welcome to another edition of the Horse Racing Happy Hour. All right, we got that in there. I'm Mike Gandolfo, and I'm joined by Marshmallow. Marshmallow, how are you doing today? Louie. I don't even think he has any idea of the costume that he's wearing, or who it is, or what it is about, or all that kind of stuff.
I just needed something I could wear and scare kids on Halloween.
I don't know how scary that is. I think they'll be like more excited about it. Like a lot of kids are into Marshmallow.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. So yeah,
there you go.
He's like a celebrity.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
A little celebrity status for me on Tuesday.
I guess so.
Not used to that.
So yeah, we're out here enjoying the last. Like that's the other thing about Halloween.
I think you were like, "Oh, we go to the office." I'm like, "Bleep off. We're not going to the office."
No, but this is like. Did you see the Halloween forecast?
No, it's like 38 or something.
Oh yeah, it's awful. And so
hilarious.
We got to
hilarious, Ohio Valley, hilarious.
Just got to live it up when we can live it up. We got to be out here. We're getting ready for our trip to LA. Now, I mean, Lou, you told me something this week that this is your first trip to Los Angeles.
Southern California in general. How about that?
Oh, no Del Mar. Well, you haven't been to San Diego or anything, huh?
Right.
So you've been to San Francisco? Where you been?
Bunch, yes.
Okay.
I went to Seattle too. I had family in both.
Seattle's in Washington, not in California, but
I'm just saying on the West Coast. I've been out, Phoenix, Vegas, Denver.
Have you done Oregon?
Stuff.
I've not done Oregon yet. That's the only.
Oregon. No, that's good.
I knocked a state off my list though this week.
I got a buddy in Spokane.
Yeah.
Who's at the Pullman Washington State thing. I should probably get out there and check him out.
Okay.
Yeah. How's that cigar?
I love it so far. I mean, it's just starting out. A little Alec Bradley here. So
trying out cigars for our trip to LA. Yeah.
We're getting them all ready to go. Like I said, I did knock off a state off my list this week. I went to South Dakota.
Did you say hi to the governor? I
did not.
Okay.
I did have a conversation about the governor that was not brought up by me. That's all I'm going to say. And then, so before the show, we're waiting on you because you got to be a diva and show up and like right before we go on the air.
And I was to the way here.
Yeah.
And I literally,
and if you're not watching,
I pulled into John Knox Presbyterian
and went home.
And went back home when I realized
it wouldn't have been that big of a deal, but I appreciate you doing that.
No, I know you wanted them. And we were supposed to get them 2 Saturdays ago. So whatever.
When I was at your house, right?
You were actually at my crib. Yeah. Right.
And so if you're watching on the video on Spotify, you can see the new Horse Racing Happy Hour class on class road trip hats. We got the license plate on there. Very California. I got the flat bill going on. I might have to go buy a pair of Vans to wear to the to Santa Anita. Yeah, I mean. I did on my trip to South Dakota. There's a couple things that we got to talk about here. Okay.
So you shot a gun.
I did not.
Just to shoot one because it's South Dakota.
I did not.
Okay.
Although I did find it very entertaining that in the airport gift shop, they did have gun cases in the airport gift shop. Yeah.
That's the baby.
Let's go. But I did like a little dry run because there's only one straight flight from Louisville to Los Angeles.
Yes.
So we are on Spirit Airlines.
Yes, we are.
Which means I've got to try to pack as light as possible.
That's also fair.
So I got this, I went on Amazon. I got the little garment bag that folds up into like a duffel bag. And so I did the dry run with that.
Okay.
And I got a ton of stuff in there, including my audio equipment and my clothes.
I was going to say, I think I could fit all of our necessary audio stuff for the radio stuff in my backpack. And then if I have a bag like that I can carry on, I think we're going to be good to go.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I'm still probably going to take a backpack and because I think I'm going to want, I don't know, because it depends on where we do the shows and how we do it. And
so if you followed us, by the way, during Derby, they would have heard the name Chet Mays from Mays Plastic Surgery and Aesthetics. He's hanging out with us again next week.
Nice.
Finding him every
oh yeah, we're gonna do Wednesday. We're gonna be out at Chef's Cut. We got a special episode coming on
Wednesday.
Monday.
Chefs. We'll have our guy James Welsh. I almost called him Welsh for no reason. James Welsh from Scotland will help us with the turf horses for the Breeders' Cup on Monday. You and I are doing that show together, and then we'll be at Chef's Cut on Wednesday, and then I'll fly to LA the next day. So there you go.
Yeah, I got to make sure all that's on the calendar so the wife doesn't get mad. But
it was on the calendar, baby.
But Zach and I were talking about if this is your first trip to LA, we're trying to figure out like once we land how we give you the most LA experience possible. Since really we don't have a whole lot of time, right? Sure. We're at the track most of the time.
Yeah.
So Zach, you want to hop on real quick so you can get on the trip planning? Zach lands a couple hours.
I assumed we were gonna go to Bakersfield and I was gonna have to go to a taco truck and speak Spanish. I assumed that.
That's not very LA.
Bakersfield.
I mean, it is, but it's not the experience that a tourist wants in LA.
Bakersfield's not close to LA. It's like an hour and a half, 2 hours away. It's
okay.
Yeah. It's closer. Bakersfield's actually closer to get up to where the sequoia trees are. That we went through Bakersfield, and then you came out on Fresno. Yeah, it's pretty far away.
What am I thinking of? What terrible town am I trying to think of?
I don't know.
Long Beach.
Long Beach. Long Beach. Tic Tac. Grab your gat. Watch your back. Here I come.
Correct.
Yeah. Which every 40-year-old white male thinks they're gangster rappers from the 90s. So
I don't think that about myself.
No?
No.
All right.
More of a hip hop guy.
We feel like we need to go to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles for dinner, especially if Issel's with us Thursday night.
You think Issel's spending a minute with us?
And he's staying at the house?
No.
So who's at the house?
His wife is coming. His daughter's coming.
Okay.
Oh no, Big Miss is going to be not accessible for us.
Okay. So is it us and Kilroy at the house?
Kilroy, yeah. KK, yeah.
What? Do we know when Kilroy's flying? Is he flying with us? Or is
he's flying direct from KC Mo. Yeah.
Okay. But we feel like Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles is the most LA thing we could do. And listen, we want your advice.
Where the hell is it?
Roscoe's is all over LA.
So I'm going to.
It's an institution.
No, it's like a local chain.
Yeah,
In-N-Out
only in LA.
Roscoe's is
okay. All right.
But Roscoe's is like, and if you want to, just go to Twitter at Horse Happy Hour. Let us know where's the most LA place that we could take Louie for dinner.
We're landing at LAX.
And I think I was telling Zach,
we're staying very close to Arcadia.
I think we should just go ahead and do the pod from Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. Like, just put the equipment on the table.
That's fine, but
don't even ask permission. Just put it on the table and let's go.
It is LA. You can just film anywhere.
Let's go, Patino. Put it on the table. Let's go.
Have a 19 seconds. All right. So, or what was it? 14 seconds?
15 seconds, I think. Yeah. No one got that reference unless you're like in Louisville, Kentucky. But yeah, I want to know from the listeners too. Like, if you have an idea of where we should take Louie for dinner, and we got to go dinner, I guess, after the races. But I'm assuming we'll have some Illuminati with us that night. Maybe not. I mean, I feel like
Saturday night we might be having dinner with people you've heard of.
Okay, are we not doing like Friday night dinner with Sherva? Because then I feel like kind of cheated if not.
John would be part of that group.
Okay,
yeah.
All right. Yeah. So yeah,
they have deadlines and stuff, but whatever. We can go before.
And that's basically what we're going to do today. We're going to watch a couple replays from last week. We're going to do a little handicapping in the final segment, but the main focus of today's show is the most overrated day on the horse racing calendar, which is Future Star Friday of the Breeders' Cup. And Louie, just out of curiosity,
the Breeders' Cup Juvenile is fire, by the way.
Oh, sure, we would have said that last year with Cave Rock and all these horses that you're
projecting to the 3-year-old season. I don't care about that right now. It's October.
Sure.
I care about these races that I'm flying.
But don't call it
next week at this time. I'll be landing in Los Angeles this time next week.
Just don't call it Future Star Friday. Don't call it Future Star Friday. They're not Future Stars. We had not
call it 8th graders who are very tall Friday.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I call it what it is, but like, I mean, we had
hard as fire. I'm sorry. Fine. It's not.
What's the name? What's the name of the kid that played against LeBron James in the state championship? That's what they should call it Friday.
Yeah. Right. They can call it Wimbimbwa or whatever. Victor Wimbimbwa's Friday. That's what they can call it. So
there you go.
No, I think actually I think he's not overrated. I think it's just going to take him some time. I don't think he's going to be an instant success. I think you got to give the kid maybe a couple seasons and let him bulk up, and he'll be fine.
And worth a damn.
But people got to just get off. Like, you step in. Not everyone's going to be able to step in the league and just be unbelievable right away.
Yeah. It even took LeBron several years to get past the Pistons. I mean, that's a realistic.
Yeah, but he was a star from day one.
And he was physically more
gifted. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I think we need to hear from the people where we should go that night. But my vote is for Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. It is a thing that you got to do in LA. And I've been to the one in Inglewood, which is
Inglewood, always up to no good. See, I do that line.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
I tried to whiteness it even more than usual, and I think I did a good job of it.
All right. So, what is your packing strategy? Are you taking one pair of pants that is going to last you the whole week, or? Yeah, absolutely for me too. I'll just
a pair of shorts that I'm wearing on the planes.
Okay.
Probably
one pair of shoes.
Yeah. I mean, I have track shoes that I wear just because you walk so much.
I mean,
on concrete, right?
Sure.
So like, I wear sneakers, tennis shoes, whatever
Sure.
people call them.
Which is like legit over there. I mean, California either like it can be super casual and get away with it, or you've got to like.
I'm going to dress at Santa Anita like I dress everywhere else. I'm going to look like I'm at the Indiana Derby at the Breeders' Cup. Let's be realistic about these things.
Yeah, but
I was about to say,
you wear a sports coat to the Indiana Derby.
I'm gonna wear
the
the same outfit I wore to the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, the Indiana Derby.
Yeah, they're all the same to me, 100%. I totally agree.
All right, let's get into some replays. Let's start. We're gonna start with. By the way, did you go out to Keeneland at all last week?
I did not.
Okay, I did not either. Like I said, I almost went that one day.
I am very, very likely to go Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I didn't go this fall meet, and I need to be in the building for that. So.
Okay. I'll definitely be in Lexington Saturday.
Yeah.
So I guess I could make that happen. So yeah.
There's a couple of these.
Well, we're gonna be talking about them later. You know, we got a pick 4. We're gonna give you all. We're gonna drop. Are we gonna get the whole pick 4? Or are we gonna make them go to the sheet to get to go to the book? I mean,
we'll give them 4 races. There is a maiden after.
Okay.
But the maidens at Keeneland lately have just been all races anyway. There's no capping right now.
No, right. Yeah. All right. So right now we're going to talk about Raise Cane winning the Perryville. And again, you could have done the Perryville double, gone to the Perryville Stakes, then gone to Perryville Battlefield for like some sort of Halloween thing that night. Let's see if you did it.
The rail 6 lengths from the front, they turn for home. It is verifying with Dr. Vinkman alongside. Raise Cane tries to join them out in the center of the track as they come off the far turn. Here's Raise Cane coming forward. Now, Post Time is going to look for running room, but is still in behind horses in 4th. Raise Cane is coming forward into the final furlong to challenge Dr. Vinkman. Raise Cane, a narrow lead. Dr. Vinkman fighting on to the inside, a 16th to go in the Perryville. Raise Cane, Dr. Vinkman right there. Raise Cane, Dr. Vinkman, Raise Cane wins it by.
I mean,
Kurt Becker settled down.
But still, no Ghostbusters reference in the call really upsets me. Like you got to come with something.
And Dr. Vinkman disappears.
Yeah,
he ghosts us at the finish.
Something like that, right? Your girlfriend's the dog, whatever. Because wasn't Peter Venkman? That was Bill Murray's character, right? Yeah. A little. Anything you take from the Raise Cane's victory right there?
So I write something called Louie's Look Ahead on First Gen.
Okay.
On Saturdays, and I literally wrote, if someone else is going to win this race, it's going to be Raise Cane, but I'm going to let him try the turn back in distance once before I beat him. Hey, he did it. He went ahead and did it.
Got it done.
Yeah, got it done. There you go.
All right. Well, then now let's take a look at Vava winning the Grade 2 Raven Run.
Then 6th, and Apple Picker last. They turn for home. Alva Star, the leader. Vava comes to the outside, and then Dazzling Blue out in the center of the track is in 3rd. Here comes Vava trying to chase down Alva Star, and the battle is on, moving by the 8th pole. Alva Star maintains the lead by a length. Vava's there in 2nd. Alva Star, Vava still trying, still there on the outside. Final furlong of the Lexus Raven Run. Vava right alongside of Alva Star. It is Vava, John Velasquez, to win the Lexus Raven.
I just like that name, Vava.
Vava, yeah.
Yeah.
How about that? Okay.
Yeah. It's any takeaways on Vava there? Looked good.
This is a race that actually has produced
some good horses. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think. So Wisconsin ran. Who was the horse she ran against that was a closer? And they always met up.
I can't believe him.
Hang on. I'm looking. I apologize. Bell's the one.
Yeah, Bell's. I was gonna say Bell's kept on coming up in my head.
Vava looked like Bell's the one in that race.
Yeah.
Bell's the one won that race actually very similarly. And so I'm interested to see if Vava, who I think is 4 and not 5, does she come back next year? Does she continue to try that distance, that 6, 7, maybe 1 turn mile kind of distance? Obviously had the late kick in that race. And so interested to see what they end up doing with her for next year. But yeah, I think frankly, that's a difficult running style in sprints overall. You have to be a horse as good as Bell's the one to win those races because you have to make your trip, right? If you're a sprinter, you can just get out front and tell people to come catch you. That's a different thing. But in this case, yeah, she got it done for sure. I thought she was impressive. That late kick in sprints, especially, number one, it'll get you a lot of checks, right? Because you're going to hit the board a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But the other part is you are going to pick some of these races off that fall apart up front. And I think she took advantage of that for sure.
Yeah. Another horse that won this race in 2015 was a horse named Sarah Sis, who was slated to go in the Oaks and ended up starting in the Oaks, but then did not finish. But the reason why I bring that up is that I got to meet trainer Ingrid Mason with that because of that horse, and it was she's turned out to be a really good friend of mine. So yeah, so
What's up, Ingrid?
yeah, go Ingrid. All right, well, let's get into it, man. Let's talk about the juvenile. We're not going to touch the turf races because we're going to wait to have.
That's what Monday's for.
Yeah,
that really
Monday's all turf races.
You and I have talked too, and we always get into the dirt races later with James, but as far as talking turf, especially Saturday,
right,
with established horses, one of my personal rules is I'm betting the European horses and not the American horses. The one exception, since you and I have been hanging out, was bricks and mortar.
Right,
that was it. But it took a bricks and mortar for us to trust an American horse, right?
Well, and for the if I'm not mistaken, the first turf race last year was the first time that a 2-year-old American horse has won one of the breed of the juvenile.
Other way around. So European horse won.
Oh, okay, that's what it was.
It had been an American horse for many years because the European horses were running straight line races.
Right, that's right. That's right. That's right.
They
That's
went
right.
around the turn at Keeneland, and we got a European winner.
Yeah.
Which ruined my theory on that day. So an American horse could definitely ruin my theory.
Absolutely.
This year, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about the best of the best. If anybody wins, it's not an upset at this point.
Well, I mean, the best of the best for where they are right now, because out of the 5 juvenile races,
I'm talking about Saturday.
I'm talking about Friday though.
Okay.
We're talking about Friday today. This is Future Star Friday. Out of the 5 Future Star Friday Breeders' Cup races, okay, how many of those horses not named Forte went on to win a race after their Breeders' Cup win?
Did Wonder Wheel never win again?
Wonder Wheel never won again.
Did Cave Rock never won again?
Cave Rock didn't win, came in second.
Okay,
so,
you're right.
and I'm not sure, but none of those horses in that field, for the juveniles was really ever
on that 2-year-old day.
Yeah.
Right.
Came up to anything. And really the only horse on the female side in the juvenile fillies was Chocolate Gelato that's had any kind of career whatsoever. So,
and you're especially talking on the dirt, right? Because
I mean, but the turf races too. Aiden O'Brien had a great day that last year, and none of those horses have ever won again. There's only been a couple of them that have even hit the board. Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Fine.
So, yeah, there it is.
Did you see the Aiden O'Brien stats the other day?
No, were they crazy?
Like 50% wins, and he hits the board like 72% of the time. The Breeders' Cup, something insane.
All right, I'm going to go with the fillies first. Is that okay with you?
Totally fine.
Okay.
They actually run before the boys,
right.
In race 6.
You just had it a different one, the show sheet, and I know that you get sensitive if I don't look at the show sheet, So I just want to make sure that you acknowledge.
Is there anyone not on the show sheet that you thought was a contender for this race?
No, because quite honestly, like I'm only halfway paying attention to the 2-year-olds in this case, because for this to me is to me it is about setting them up for the 3-year-old season. And I do have to vote. So and I try, like I
was gonna say, for Eclipse Awards you gotta pay attention.
I do. And then that was part of the thing last year. Like I didn't think Wonder Wheel was the best, like should have been the champion 2-year-old filly. She wasn't my pick for it. And then I guess if you're going based off what she did as a 2-year-old, she definitely was deserving. But as I factor in how they project coming out, and of course the horse that I felt projected out really well, Who's Your Filly, didn't really.
Yeah, she won this year. But
she did. Yeah, she wasn't what we thought she was going to be either, right? Okay, so the Breeders' Cup Juvenile filly here. I am very interested in this race because Tamara, being the West Coast horse and has shown a ton of speed, has only raced at Del Mar, has not made the trip up to Santa Anita yet. But I kind of like, you have Candied number 4. I like Candied more than I like Chatalis, and I know Chatalis is another local kind of shooter, but I think Candied's got more speed. So I think it's a showdown between those two. So tell me why I'm wrong.
Between
Tamara and Candied.
Candied. I don't know that you're wrong. I have both of those in my top 5. I don't think that's a ridiculous statement by you at all.
I'm a little bit more prepared this time around than I was last week.
No, it's totally fine.
Yeah.
You're good.
I was distracted as hell last week.
I'm very aware.
Yeah.
No, I also wasn't trying to.
Yeah. I get you.
Suggest anything.
I'm apologizing to our listeners.
Oh, got it. It's not for me. Got it.
Yeah.
So no, but I would say here, especially, I think tomorrow I think the younger 2-year-olds seem to show well from California, even at Keeneland, for example, in the Breeders' Cup last year. We saw it at Churchill Downs last time it was here, etc. So I do trust tomorrow. I think Richard Mandela brings horses along as well as anybody.
He does. I mean,
really
absolutely.
I don't think there's any question about it. I think she's improving. She'll have to go from 7 furlongs to over a mile, 2 turns for sure, right? But I don't think she's gonna have any trouble with that. It's a Boldoro. Her mom is Beholder, I think she's going to be fine. And so I think she's definitely there. So you like Candy that much. Okay, so.
I mean, this is only the third time out, right?
The Alcibiades, the only thing about Keeneland is that short stretch.
Okay.
Right? But I'm not worried about her. I mean, we've seen Candy rides do whatever, right? I mean, literally sprint on the grass and sprint on the dirt and then go routing. I mean, I'm not worried about that part. So if you thought those two were the ones to watch, I wouldn't have a reason to say that you will.
With the connections with the Beholder side of Tamara, sure. And you got a Dioro on top, and I mean, could we be looking at like just a beast, like incredible filly? Like, could we actually be looking at a future star with Tamara?
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too.
I mean, I really hope so.
I would love to see that translate.
I would love it if, by the way, we got to go and we're at the Breeders' Cup. We see Tamara win and she wins the Oaks or something, or we see Candy win and she wins the Oaks, right? Like, yeah, we get to see the Oaks winner, even if they don't win in the juvenile, if they're in the Philly side, if they're there and they win the Oaks, I think it'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I just think the buzz behind a Beholder as a mare, just the incredible career she had, just definitely does it for me. So, anything else you want to add about that field?
Laurel was great on the West Coast, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, so, that's part of it too. I just think there are some other horses in here that are really interesting. I think you have some that showed incredible, like Brightwork. I have 5th. She did not like the stretch out. She did not like Keeneland. Let's put it that way. She didn't like Keeneland. She did break her maiden there, but that was on that little side 4.5 coming onto the track there, Mike. Went out, won the debutante at Ellis Park, wins the Adirondack up at Saratoga, wins the Spinaway at Saratoga. But all those are one turn, right? All of them. And so there is a question: can she stretch out? Can she do it? It's I trust John Ortiz in this spot. I think that she's got a legitimate shot. The other horse I have in here, Vivi's Dream, right? We watched her
every other.
What's that?
Could be an every other, and this would be the right time of the every other.
Be the every other. And by the way, her others are being second by less than 2 lengths.
Yeah,
right. No, so she's just always right there.
And she probably came in with the most buzz, I think, on the horses coming out from the east.
I think if you wanted to have a criticism of Vivi's Dream, it's that she's Hoosier Philly and she's good at Kentucky and nowhere else.
That very well could be it.
We don't know yet because she hasn't run outside Kentucky.
Yeah,
and that's not her fault because the purses she ran for staying in Kentucky are 118,000, 216,000, 300,000. And 500,000. So there's no reason to leave.
Well, I mean, state, right? Most of these horses only run in one track or one state, and some of them on only one track. Yeah, yeah.
So I think Vivi's Dream, if she won, would you be surprised?
No, I wouldn't be surprised at all. I mean, I think that is definitely probably. I don't know how I feel about Chatalis.
Well, that is a John Lindo entry for me.
Okay.
John has talked about her before the Chandelier, and he was totally right about her. The reason I like her is the running style. She doesn't mind being on the lead. And with young fillies, a young filly that's willing to be on the lead and not be a pack horse, always something that I look for, always something that I like about younger horses. And so if she's willing to do that kind of work, I'm all in. I think it could be really great.
So who is your, if you were to take maybe a horse off this ever list, maybe if you were going to take a long shot, and I'm totally setting you up for a question that you didn't know you were going to get.
Sure.
Who would be that horse maybe that it's going to be a little bit of a longer, because we see some longer odds horses hit them these days. I was going to say that exact one.
You and I both like Tommy A with younger, especially with young fillies, right? And so if Tommy A can get her ready. Last time in the Alcibiades, first time routing, and she was on the lead, maybe did a little bit too much work. If you look at her previous races, she was behind. She was trying to use late speed to catch up. She is an Omaha Beach horse that you and I both like, Bernardini mare. I do think there's a real shot that she'll be just fine over 2 turns. If I had to grab somebody in that group, that was a longer shot. I know there was another one that I thought about putting on here. Yeah, Life Talk, for example, out of the Pletcher barn as well. Why are you shipping that horse? Well, she runs with the Frisette, but it's a sloppy track at Aqueduct. Do you hold it against a horse that they don't like a thicker, a deeper track on Long Island? I don't, especially in the crap. So she could be interesting. I don't have Scalable on here. That's a maiden. They thought enough of her to run her in the Chandelier. And if Pletcher's going to ship her out, that tells me something.
Anytime Pletcher places a horse, you got to pay attention, right? You had to pay attention.
Yeah. And so those might be the spots. I don't know that we'll get a maiden runner in this race, but those would be the ones. Otherwise, yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I think those are about my top 6, 7, something like that.
All right. You just mentioned that you're a big fan of this juvenile race. So
on the boys' side,
on the guys' side, we're gonna go to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile here. This is a 1.16 miles, of course, on the dirt for 2-year-olds. $2 million purse. Where did you land with the boys?
I just think you start with the Bafferts and then you find other horses. So Prince of Monaco, obviously, the $950,000 purchase on a Speightstown, hasn't done anything wrong in his career, but he's also never gone 2 turns.
I think we were at Breeders' Cup last year and we were talking to some of the other media Illuminati, which we are at the top of. They all look up to us.
They can't find us.
Yeah, it's
we're in the tent.
Yeah, I mean Sherva's fangirling a little bit too much. Okay, and I'm only saying that because I know he's listening.
Yeah.
But I believe like when Baffert was anticipating being eligible to run horses in this Derby 150, like someone was telling us that he just went through and just bought basically every single major yearling he could find.
Sure.
So like he loaded his 2-year-old barn.
This is a Madacat group, right?
Yeah.
And Youth is owned by Zidane. I mean, his big hitters have horses in this race, right? There's a Starlight entry as well that I'll find, but no, I think you start with those. I think you start with those horses, especially since they're younger, Mike. They don't have to get in the containers and ship and do all that stuff. They're just there already, right? And they've been working out and they know the track and they're comfortable and all that. Youth is going to get Juan Hernandez, almost certainly Prince of Monaco is going to get Flavia and Pratt. I trust both of those guys in a very serious way at Santa Anita. So for me, those are massive positives. Plus, it's Baffert in California, man. I mean, we just need to be realistic about who wins the damn races in Southern California on the dirt. His name is Bob Baffert, especially with 2- and 3-year-olds. It's just what he does. And so I absolutely think those two are in the top 5, and they're my 1 and 2. Actually, I went to Locked next. Trained by Todd Pletcher, did win the Breeders' Futurity at Keeneland on that shorter stretch, but did it in a stalking way.
Mm-hmm.
And I know with the Baffert horses that they're going to want to be out front, especially Prince of Monaco. I think they're going to try to get him to raid on the front and go ahead and win that way. And so he's going to have something to run at. Now, is he as fast or as talented as Prince of Monaco? We're going to find out. And that's the beauty of this race, is that eventually you just find out who wins. And I think we're just going to get a lot of questions answered. I'll go with Timberlake as well. Another guy we really trust with 2- and 3-year-olds is Brad Cox, shipping Timberlake out. Have Florent Giroux aboard. I imagine Giroux will keep the mount here. Isn't every other type? This would not be the every other, but it was in the hopeful, and so I'm not going to hold the hopeful against him. At Saratoga, goes out in the slop in the Champagne over that 1-turn mile at Aqueduct last out. It just goes ahead and wins for fun, but behind another horse that's been nominated and has been pre-entered for the Breeders' Cup in General Partner. And so, and then, I mean, finally in 5th, I have the Wine Steward. I think if you were asking for a longer shot, I think this would be the one. Was 2nd in that Breeders' Futurity after running and winning in the funny side, which was just for New York breds. So this is the son of Vino Rosso. And we have seen the Vino Rossos do pretty well this fall, frankly. And so put aside the New York bred or whatever you want to on that side. I got a Virginia bred I really like in one of the Philly juvenile turf races. But I do think or excuse me, in Saturday at Keeneland, excuse me. But yeah, I think the Wine Steward, Mike Maker here. I think we'll probably see Louie Size aboard.
Okay.
And her 2 wins are with Louie Size aboard.
Nice.
One at Ellis in the Bashford Manor, and then one of his wins in the Bashford Manor at Ellis Park when they moved the race away from Churchill Downs, and then won the Breeders' Futurity at Keeneland. So,
I think with Muth, the thing I'm excited about seeing is, like, are we going to see this crop of Good Magics perform like they did last year, right? Like, if Good Magic even where it comes close to repeating the year he did last year as a sire, I mean, that his stud fee is going to skyrocket, right?
No doubt.
I mean, he's getting it done. That horse is actually probably one of the most undervalued horses for what he did in his career in general, and it's kind of fun to see.
They set Forte at $40,000, or 50. Excuse me, 50. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think that's
about right,
probably fair. Yeah, you know, and they probably
for 100 and he wins all those races and he's breeding for 50. That's a pretty good return.
Yeah,
investment, so.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, you know, they probably did right by the horse by retiring him, you know, and it's just the reality of the game, right? We get it.
You asked for a long shot on the Philly side. I'll give you one here. That's a fake long shot.
Okay.
Are you ready? Ramon Vasquez and Bob Baffert with Wind Me Up.
Okay.
2 turns first time last time in the American Pharoah behind Newt. Does he get better over 2 turns now? Baffert's got him in that 5 furlong workout. I anticipate seeing a timed 6 furlong workout this coming weekend. I think we'll see that. He'll run it at about 112, 113. If that number's in there, he's an include for this race.
Are you a little disappointed that we're not going to be out there to experience the track in the morning and I feel like Santa Anita's.
We're going out as early as possible on Saturday.
Sure, but you don't get to see them work out the way that we would.
Oh, I agree with that. Like we do here. For
yeah, right. And I feel like there's just, and maybe it's
sad. What are we doing?
Well, I'm not making it sad. I mean, the trip is what it is. Yeah, no,
I
love that stuff though, and I know it's kind of one of the things I just really enjoy. So, all right.
Yeah, if I told you could never go to another race, you could never go to the backside again, you would choose never go to the race.
Probably, I really enjoy going to the backside.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I enjoy the whole aspect of it.
It's not ridiculous at all.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah,
there's a lot of different aspects of the sport. You can like whatever you like.
So when I was in South Dakota,
Mike really does enjoy the backside. I'm telling you.
Dude, I have a joke with a buddy, and we were watching a game once, and it was Northwestern. You remember when they used to play the Princeton offense?
Yeah.
And the guy just goes, "No one knows the back door like Northwestern."
I remember that.
And I was like,
I don't know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
That's right. No one knows the back door like Northwestern.
That's why there's like a butt cream horse that I like in this. No, I'm just joking. What is it? Buttercream? No. I'll take that for 1,000 Trebek. Anyway,
by the way, the thing I've started to say that makes Issel laugh the most in the mornings, this will be part of our coverage next week out there at Santa Anita. By the way, just for people listening, if you are still listening, our Breeders' Cup coverage will be Friday, 10 to noon Eastern time, so 7 to 10 Pacific, out there in Arcadia. And then on Saturday, we're going to have an abbreviated show like we did last year.
Sure.
No breaks, straight through 55 minutes on Saturday. That'll air at 9 o'clock Eastern, so 6 o'clock Pacific. So we'll be able to release it as a podcast very, very early in the day, so you'll be able to pick that up as well.
Where are we thinking we're going to do the shows from? Are we going to do them from the track, or are we going to do them from?
Let's not do that in front of the American public.
Okay, all right.
So yes,
I'm good with it. Why? Okay.
Yes.
Not on Saturday.
Yes, the track.
Why?
Mike, can you just move on, please?
All right. We're gonna do it from the house.
There could be some mystery about this show. It's okay.
I like the transparency, actually, Louie. All right. So I was gonna say I was in South Dakota. I was speaking to this company brought me in to speak, and one of the guys was from Hot Springs, Arkansas, and he's like, "Hey," he knew about the podcast and stuff like that, and he said, "Have you ever been to Oakline?" I was like, "No, I mean, I really want to get to Oakline," and I said, "Plus, you guys are getting." I told him, I was like, "You guys are getting the track announcer, the future guy, and then they had, and you would know who was the guy that they had there forever.
Stauffer.
Yeah.
Stauffer, yeah.
So they're like, hey, if we can just get someone else kind of like that, it's like you got your best chance ever of someone who's extremely loyal and you could potentially get that.
Like
yeah.
Crazy. Yes. Absolutely. I mean, race goers are going to know him.
Oh yeah. So
hey, how are you? He's going to be. You talk about guys that enjoy the morning works. And
that's Matt Dennerman, right? Absolutely, 100%. All right, let's get into our.
By the way, I do want to thank our friends at the Maryland.
Maryland Breeders
Association. That assessment of Friday Dirt Horses was presented by them. Let me make sure that I get the right read here, so that I.
Is that technically our horse racing 101?
It is technically our horse racing 101. And so that was from our friends at the Maryland Horse Breeders Association. And, so please consider the advantage of buying and racing Maryland breds. Maryland breds in Maryland overnight races are eligible for a 15% owner bonus and 15% developer bonus. To learn more, become part of Maryland's success story, visit MarylandThoroughbred.com, or you could call them 410-252-2100. That's 410-252-2100, MarylandThoroughbred.com. Make sure you check them out as well. Frankly, there are some really fun ownership groups in Maryland that if you wanted to get involved, they will take you on and you can be involved there. If you're interested in that, you can find us at Horse Happy Hour, horseracinghappyhour@gmail.com. I'll direct you to all the good folks out there. But MarylandThoroughbred.com, a really cool opportunity to get in. Their state bred program is as organized and put together as anywhere. We did the Maryland Million show recently.
Absolutely.
And we've already been talking to people. We're going to be doing the Road to the Preakness again, so that'll be fun.
Good
and
stuff.
You know what? You said something in passing the other day, Mike, that I was pretty flattered by.
What's that?
You're planning on Preakness next year.
I think I'm definitely. I mean, we have the PGA Championship here, but I got the worked out. It's the same weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So
what if we go to some practice rounds? If I get you
no, I've already got my 2 days. I've already locked it up. Yeah. I already know what days I'm going. I'm going to a practice round, and I think I'm going to Thursday.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. So it'll be we just might have to fly this year.
I've flown on a plane before.
Yeah. Which we can.
I have a passport.
Let's not do it right now on the show, Louie. Okay.
I float on a plane.
Not
to LA.
I had to use my passport. I'll have to use my passport next week when we go to LA, by the way. Not because California is really another country, but because my license has completely broken in half.
Is that right?
Yeah. I got one of those new real IDs, and it's like it just snapped right in half. So gotta get that replaced. Okay, so that's enough about that.
You know, they have this thing. It's called a DMV. Usually they can get that for you, Mike.
With those real IDs, though, you got to order them. It's got to like be weeks. It's weeks and
real
weeks.
ID is pain in the butt,
yeah.
That's why I just take my passport places, actually.
I've got my
they can't
together right now.
They can't get you a new license at your DMV?
No, not
nope. They we got to mail them away. It takes forever.
They control all of it at one central office. Yeah.
So I can hear I don't even know what that is.
Is that a street cleaner?
Well, no, they're no one else can hear it, so we should move on. They're repaving Westport Road, but I don't know if that's part of this. Okay, let's get into the races today that we're going to talk about it's Keeneland's final weekend of the year, actually. Yep, that's right. And so we're going to go through 4 races. We're going to do 3 stakes races, and then we'll do a quick pick so that you can put together a little ticket there.
And frankly, race 7 has a bunch of horses all of us know. That's why.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
All right, so we're going to start, though, with race 6, which is the Bowman Mill. It's a 6-furlong sprint on the dirt. 2-year-olds coming to play here. $200,000 purse. Louie, are there any 2-year-olds here that we need to keep an eye on? Because honestly, these 2-year-old undercard races, to me, are a lot of times when we start to see these future stars.
No question, you should be looking for your Oaks and Derby winners in the maiden races at Keeneland in October.
Yeah,
absolutely,
no question.
I totally agree with you. I think what this sets up, Mike, is, and I think it is a, if they wanted to add a race on Fridays at the Breeders' Cup, that would be interesting. There are no sprints on the dirt.
Right.
And I think you could add those. Now, the issue is I'm telling them, hey, why don't you add $2 million to the purses? That's really, that's what that is, right, essentially. And so I don't know a good way to do that, but this is for the horses that are not going to be 2-turn horses yet or ever, right?
Yeah.
And so
they're guys, they might get stretched out in the future, but yeah, right.
Right. But the 1, 2, and 3 in this race, Omaha Beach, Justify, and Uncle Moa's dads. All of those horses, breeding-wise, capable of stretching.
Absolutely.
Right? But at this point in their development, maybe not ready. And look, the 3 trainers there are Brisset, Asmussen, and Ward. I mean, those are guys that I all trust to do the right thing by the horse. So I'm not, not worried about that. Man, we got this is an all race to me type.
Okay.
I have the 5 Patriot Spirit on top. That's Flavian Pratt and Michael Campbell, smaller trainer, only 43 starts this year.
Like, how tall is he?
Who, Michael?
Yeah.
He's like 6'4".
Oh, okay. So smaller guy?
Yeah, smaller trainer. Smaller barn, and broke his maiden at Colonial. Tried the Iroquois at Churchill, was just outclassed at a mile. I think getting back to a shorter distance than 6 furlongs here will be considerably better for this horse. We moved from Jesus Caston on to Flavian Pratt, and that's one of the reasons that I'm going with that. Flavian Pratt's hitting it over 20% in his races at Keeneland this meet.
Get it done.
Wherever the guy goes, it's just money. And so interested there. There's a wild card in this race called Glengarry. And yes, there is a
the Glengarry leads?
Coming in from Prairie
Does he
Meadows,
switch the Glengarry leads?
This horse is an Iowa bred. It won what's called the Iowa Cradle Black Type Stakes.
Was he a closer?
Out.
Please tell me he was a closer.
He is not.
Oh,
I know, I'm with you. But horse goes 21 and change, 44 and change, 57 and change, finishes up 6 furlongs in sub 110 at 109 and 2. If he does that on Saturday, he can win at Keeneland. That's another horse. Good luck. Second time starter, Royal Slipper, won on first asking. I love that angle. Horse coming out of a maiden win, coming back, has never been at this level, but the horse doesn't know any damn better. It's 2. Valentine Candy's in here. Lost to Normandy Hero, the 1. Alex Achard aboard for Normandy Hero and Rodolphe Brisset. This is in every other type, but I think the horse has figured out what it wants to do. Very good at Keeneland, last out in an optional claimer. Beat out Valentine Candy, who is the 2 here for Fantastic Housewife, Ricardo Santana Jr., and Steve Asmussen. 2 of them starting to connect a little bit more. Ricardo having an underrated meet, by the way, at Keeneland. 8 wins and 51 starts, 16%. That's a good percentage, considering field sizes and the quality of the jockeys that are there. And I mentioned Royal Slipper, the 3 coming out of that maiden win. I think anybody 1 through 5 on this list can win this race. And if you told me that Maycox Bay, I just said Maycox, won this race, I wouldn't be surprised either to get John Velasquez there. But the horse did win. First time breaking its maiden over Sloppy Go at Parks. not anticipating that it is going to rain here tomorrow in the Commonwealth.
It is going to rain, and I can't tell.
So wet.
Yeah,
it's going to be.
It's we. I mean, obviously looking for the football weather there too, right? So we're trying to figure out like U of L fans have basically already called it off because they're so fair weather. It's not even funny.
It's going to be below 70.
I don't think I can go. Yeah. By the way, Race Kane finished third in this race last year.
Okay, there's a great example.
Yeah. Bourbon Bash came second.
Ran a bunch of important Derby trials or Derby preps and all that stuff in the spring. So yeah, these are the kinds of races where we can see very lightly raced horses getting ready to go. And hey, 200K will always draw them in.
Another horse that we were talking about a couple of weeks ago won this race 2 years ago, and that was Nakatomi. So yeah, that's what we kind of got going on with the Bowman Mill. So you mentioned race 7, not a stakes race. But it is an allowance optional claim race, $150,000 purse that we would know a lot of the horses in this race. Yeah, I'm going down. Cattle River, Obesos, all in here.
Dr. Oscar's in
here. Yep. Who do you like here, Louie?
Man, so that's a fantastic question, Mike, and I appreciate you asking it. I got a long shot.
That's kind of how the show goes, Louie.
Louie's long shot.
Long shot.
Top Gunner's in here off a long layoff.
Louie's
ran last
long shot.
Phoenix. Do it again.
Louie's long shot. Louie's
right.
long shot.
So, Top Gunner's
twice.
in here, 12-1 for Ricardo Santana Jr. and John Ortiz. Ran last in the Phoenix up the track, but that was just to get back on the track. Kind of race, finished second in the Phoenix last year. Third by a half a length. Was part of the blanket finish with Long Range Toddy and Manny Waugh. I don't know if you remember that race last fall to close the year at Keeneland. Came back, ran it at Churchill behind Bango. Guess what? Lots of people lose to Bango at Churchill.
A lot of people, like 12. 12 horses are coming second. So
exactly right. And so came back in that Phoenix, second off the layoff here. Love that price at 12-1. Don't know that we'll get any bit of that, but if I can get Ricardo at Keeneland at 12-1, I'm going to take it. Went to the one next, 6-1. Thornton Hill for Paulo Lobo. Has not had a ton of success at Keeneland this meet, but it's hitting at 19%. Picks up John Velasquez here. Love that. It's coming out of the Brickyard at Indiana at Horseshoe and lost to our favorite. Nobody listens.
Oh, okay.
Guess what's good about that? He only lost by a half length to Nobody Listens. And if things hadn't gone tragic with him, that horse is in the Breeders' Cup.
Yep.
And so that horse was within a half length of a Breeders' Cup potential runner. And so ran in the Churchill Downs in May. Got a little bit of time off. That's a great angle for Paulo Lobo going 19% there. Interested to see him. Then I went to the 2-horse after that. In Traeger is going to be the morning line favorite. Probably going to get most of the money here. Coming in from California from Mark Blatt. He had Dr. Venkman in that race, ran second, so his only other runner from California, but has won his last 2, both at a mile going 2 turns at Del Mar and then back at 6 furlongs. Look, all the angles make sense there. And again, Flavien Prat, I just really trust. And then I went outside to the 9-horse here because I do think Obesos has a shot at 10-1 as well.
That's a great number right there too, right? I mean,
12-1 and 10-1 on the 8 and 9 horses, Top Gunner and Obesos. And you get Tyler. Tyler at Keeneland has been frustrating for me because whenever I pick him, he finishes second, which he's done 23 times in 101 runs. And then when I don't, he wins, and that's 16 out of 101. So he's having a fine meeting as well. But yeah, so kind of all over the place there, but I like the long shot 8 on top there. Top Gunner.
So I know, tragic about Nobody Listens, but did Roger, Jason, and Matt actually name that horse after this show?
It was either this one or the Horse Racing Happy Hour.
All right. So
and here I thought it was named after a local radio show.
I blame myself.
All right, let's go on to race 8. This is the Bryan Station Stakes. It's a grade 3, 1 mile on the turf, $300,000 purse here.
Great race here.
And tell us, this is all for 3-year-olds. So who do you like in this one?
Yeah, so we're staying with the 3-year-old theme here. 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds only need to apply at Keeneland. Race 7, of course, for older horses. Man, I landed on the 2. Another long shot here, Gigante, for Joel Rosario and Steve Asmussen. And here's why. Let's be realistic about what this is. Goes 1.25 miles and runs out of gas at Colonial last out. 2 for 3 lifetime at the distance of 1 mile. Won the Caesars in Indiana on Preakness Day. Beat Wadsworth that day. And that's a nice horse, man. And so beats Wadsworth, comes back, wins this grade 2 Secretariat at Colonial going 1 mile. Splits 23, 48, 111, 135. Those are winning times. And so comes back in that grade 3 at 1 mile and 1/8 in the Virginia Derby, like I mentioned. Didn't like it. last out, a little bit too much distance. If you look, the horse was a little bit too far off the pace under Christian Torres. Problem solved. You go and get Joel Rosario. That's not going to happen here. So 12-1, man. I like some prices on Saturday at Keeneland. I would then look inside to the one talk of the nation, 5-2. Not done anything wrong. Wins at Kentucky Downs last time. This is one of those years, Mike, where we're seeing horses come out of Kentucky Downs really well to Keeneland, translating really well. Would not be surprised if if he, Son of Quality Road, ends up winning here in the grade 3. Then I went to the 4, Smoky Mandate, which is what we probably should have named this show.
Okay. Yeah.
I regret not doing that.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, I got to keep talking. Sorry.
Yeah.
James Graham board here hasn't won a race at Keeneland this meet in 26 tries, but this is a better horse than he has had in most of those mounts. And then I went to the 9 horse again toward the outside. More Than Looks is going to be the favorite, 9-5. Cherie DeVoe won the Jefferson Cup last time out at Churchill Downs. I think a little bit too much emphasis on that horse having won last time out. Is 2 for 4 lifetime at the distance, does have a 101 speed figure. But I do want to look, if we're doing that, I'll take Gigante in this case, just because 12-1 and not 9-5. This is, by the way, I haven't mentioned him, so he's probably going to win. Tyler's on a praise on the outside for Chad Brown. That horse is probably winning because I didn't mention him.
Chad Brown, Tyler, 8-1. Go for it. Irish horse there
you, man,
on the turf.
I think especially between 3-year-old races at Keeneland in the fall. Yeah, if you like a price, go for it.
All right, we're gonna move on then to the Fayette. Give me 1 second. The Fayette Stakes, which is another graded stakes, grade 2 for this one. By the way, Corey Landry is in this field, and I failed to mention last week he won his 5,000th race recently, and that's an unbelievable accomplishment. So congratulations to Corey. Yeah.
So we talk about, so you cover college football, and you're going to cover some college basketball, obviously. Mm-hmm. And in horse racing, we talk pedigree, and in college sports, we talk blue bloods. We talk about pedigree, right, with different programs and different things. And obviously here we talk about Kentucky basketball.
Basketball,
for example,
yeah.
as having an incredible.
Are we going to get into why I don't like Coach Calipari?
No, we're not going to do that.
Okay.
But the pedigree thing, as far as oh God, what were we just talking about? Why am I blanking?
Corey Landry is what I was talking about.
Landry
yeah.
Is from that Cajun line of riders. So
yeah.
Melvin Burrell's, him, DeZorno,
and he right.
And so just that great group of guys from Louisiana, right? Well, in Louisville, we have the South End guys. We have the guys, Dale Romans, Brad Cox, the guys that grew up around Churchill Downs, or the local guys. And I brought it up on our show on Friday with Issel, and I wonder, are we still cultivating those places? So is there a next great trainer from the South End in Louisville? I hope so. Is there a next great set of jockeys from Louisiana? I hope so. And I think that could be, we talk a lot in horse racing about tracks closing or, whatever else. What we don't need to do is lose those great sources of quality in our sport. And so I hope someone's cultivating that. Because I asked it to Kevin on Friday because he covers fairgrounds in the winter. Ron Fouchot has to quit training in New Orleans in Louisiana because he's not making enough money.
Yeah.
What's the future in some of these places that have given us such quality in the past? We talk about Santa Anita, Del Mar needing to be major league, right? We need California to be a main cog in what we do, right? I'm not worried about NYRA right now. They need to figure out their weather issues, but other than that, I'm not worried about NYRA. I think they're going to have something very nice between Belmont and Saratoga. I think they're going to be fine. But I do worry about places like those Cajun guys with Corey Landry, and then maybe who's the next Brad Cox? Who's the next Dale Romans? I hope there's the next one.
I'm sure there will be. I
hope you're right.
When you were asking the question, I was bringing up a book that I read several years ago. A guy named Daniel Coyle wrote a book called The Talent Code, and it was talking about how these weird pockets have produce all this great talent in one certain area, and just how
think about Issel.
Yeah.
In Batavia High School
with Kenny Anderson,
who shared a backyard with him.
Yeah.
And Craig Sager was 2 classes behind him.
Right. Not that Sager was a great athlete, but he was obviously a very famous basketball announcer. But yeah.
But obviously got a foundation in sports that led him to a great career in sports, right? And what I'm saying for horse racing is I would hate for those 2 areas not to be part of the future of the sport.
I agree.
I'm lumping California because we're going there. And it's they're close to Golden Gate. I mean, I hope we're maintaining those areas that we can.
Sure. But I do think it's kind of interesting though when you do kind of get those kind of areas that just produce. I mean, like, for example, a lot of people are surprised that Louisville, Kentucky produces an unbelievable amount of Olympic swimmers.
Yes.
And some of the best female volleyball players in the country.
Yes.
So, and you would never think about that. It's like, and you know,
PGA players and Major League Baseball.
Well, I'm thinking more of like the PGA things, kind of one thing, but like the volleyball and the swimmers are all coming out of these programs that have kind of untapped this talent code thing, right? You know, yeah. So, yeah. Well, I think that'd be a great question to ask Calvin. I saw Pat Day the other day. Not to ask him. I saw him in the grocery store. I always, you know, just get a chuckle.
Well, I think we'll see Lannery out at Breeders' Cup, and I'd love to get like a 90-second response.
And I think we could. I think we definitely could.
Who's the next Cajun? Who is
yeah. Or even from that background of like where that all came from. And I know the DeSormos would tell us about it, talk about it for sure.
I know the DeSormos would talk to us.
Yeah. We'll have to do that. Yeah. So look, because I think that's going to be.
I'm not trying to derail the show either. I think that conversation.
No, but honestly, like this is what I think I'm most excited about going to the West Coast for these shows for, is because, you know, we will be able to get to the track and really kind of focus on those kind of things. Like last year at Breeders' Cup, we were very intentional on developing some relationships after our shows, right?
Sure.
And I think the same thing can kind of happen, or not even more so, even at when we went to the Preakness. You know, I think we can do the same kind of thing this trip around when we don't have the pressure of lugging around all of our equipment and all that kind of stuff, because our show's going to be so early that we'll be able to kind of really tap into that stuff.
We're not going to be bogged down with things that we had to do at Derby, for example, as far as
Derby's a whole different animal for us. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so the Fayette.
So what I hear you saying is, no one comes to Louisville or Lexington.
No, everybody comes to Louisville and Lexington. So we got
there's too many.
It's too much. Yeah. So the Fayette Stakes is a $350,000 purse here. It's a mile and an eighth, and it's for 3-year-olds and up. Louie, where did you land in this race?
I didn't. Let's move on to the next
one. Okay, we're gonna go next one. All right.
Film stars on the inside for Jose Ortiz and Linda Rice. He's also entered at Aqueduct. If that horse comes to Lexington, I think he wins. Second in the Woodward, last out to a horse named Zandon, who you think is going to win the Breeders' Cup Classic. And so
I think he's going to come second, but yeah. All right.
There you go. So White Bar.
Yeah, I probably, you know, I don't know. I'm wondering if White Barrio is going to be able to repeat his performance. So
I'm wondering if he gets to the starting gate.
Yeah. Oh. Did you hear something?
I don't have any inside information.
Okay. All right.
That's a long way off, man. We were wondering if King Guillermo was going to get to the starting gate of that Derby. Just those layoffs. It's tough.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is.
It's tough. How's that cigar?
It's the taste is great. The construction might have gotten a little bit of a dud. Okay. I don't think it's your fault. I think there was just a couple of things, you know, it was kind of plugged early on, and then anyway, I don't need to get into a cigar. So every once in a while you get one that's just a little off.
A little plugged.
Yeah. You got that. Back to Film Star.
Speaking of backdoor and plug, Film Star. Won a bunch. Tries graded company for the first time last out at the Woodward. Going those 2 turns at Aqueduct. I do think he's set up well here as well. Love the connections on that one. If the horse ships, I'll land there. I went to the 5 next, which is Twilight Blue, 12-1. Brian Hernandez Jr. for Joe Sharp. Did finish second in an optional claimer last time out after more than a year off. So this is the second run for that horse. We just had a bullet work the other day on Sloppy Go at Churchill. Has been working really well, alternating those 5 and 4 furlong workouts. Ran in the Fort Larned last year at a mile and 3/16 and 1 at Churchill. Comes back in that optional claimer, not available for claim. Finished second. Is second for the entire race. Just runs out of gas. That's going to happen when you haven't run in over a year. So I'm not holding that against him. I think that he'll bounce back really well here. Love that 12-1 price. And look, Brian Hernandez Jr., say what you want, but that's 13 times hitting the board and 48 runs at Keeneland this year. And so I think he'll at least have the horse competitive. I then went to the 10 outside. Trademark for Martin Garcia, Vicky Oliver. Ran second by a head in the Lucas Classic last time. Before that, was in Iceland ran second in that one by a half length at Monmouth. Eventually, horses like this just break through. I really do think that. And so Martin Garcia not having a great beat at Keeneland either, but I have to remind people that when you see the percentages at Keeneland, this isn't like Santa Anita on a usual day where there's 7-8 runners. We're talking 12 and 10
full fields, yeah,
all the time, right? And so for Martin Garcia to have 2 wins, I don't hold it against him at this point. And then I have 7, 8, 11 here, man, and I know it's a lot, but Irma Miracolo, I don't know if that horse is ever going to win a race, but they're trying to 3-year-old son of gun runner. We watched Gunrunner develop late. Maybe this horse will develop late.
Sure.
I don't know why that would be so ridiculous. We both like Antonio Sano as well. And you get Louie Saez. I think that's a massive upgrade. Last time this horse won was at Parks on decent go. Had slop in the Pennsylvania Derby. Gets decent go in Smarty Jones at Parks, which is essentially their prep race for the Pennsylvania Derby. He wins that one by 3 lengths over Cagliostro, who I think people think pretty well of, right? And so we get Saez back. His 2 runs with Saez are his 2 runs that were the very best, both at Saratoga and then at Parks. And so I have him next. I think you can look a lot of different places here and just watch the prices as you get closer. Law Professor's in here for Rob Atras, and then you get Florent Giroux aboard. That was another horse, finished right behind Film Star in that Woodward. Another horse coming off a layoff, ran in the Pimlico Special, up the track, was tired. They gave him some time off, did the right thing by the horse. Now he's second off the layoff here. That's a great angle for the Atras folks. And then the 11 horse is that the Chileno? No, it's Dash Attack. How about that? You can get a horse that won that optional claimer that I'm talking up so much with Twilight Blue for 8-1 with John Velasquez.
Jeez. Well,
you talk about a betting race. I mean, this is an underrated betting race. And so I think you can grab a lot of different horses here that you think might win, but I think you got to spread a little bit here.
I'll tell you what, though, this race in general is usually a great precursor for the Clark.
Correct.
And you got some winners of this race. Wes Willpower won last year. Independence Hall the year before that, Mr. Freeze, Tom's d'Etat. That's the last 4 winners of this race. And we're talking about some serious freaking racehorses. You go back a little ways. Wise Dan won this race. Blame won this race. I mean, typically this race is one of the best grade 2s that you're going to see throughout the entire country.
Considering the time of year.
Right.
None of these horses can run on the Breeders' Cup.
Right.
Their next real opportunity is Thanksgiving at Churchill.
So
yeah, no,
and you probably will see a lot of that happen. You'll see some of this field go on to the Clark as their next race.
You'll see some of these 2-year-olds that are in the maiden races in the Kentucky Jockey Club.
Yeah,
right, like we did last year with Smile Happy, excuse me, and with oh gosh, who was in that 3-year-old class last year? Or it was 2 years ago, I guess, with White Abari and all those guys. That that race ended up being a great predictor of success in the spring.
Sure,
in the early spring race.
All right, go to the Gold Book. Plug the Gold Book real quick.
Goldbookbets.com. We'll have that set up. If you are listening and you don't know, we've been doing the Gold Book for cheap because we just want you to get in the door, find out where it is. Not everybody knows where the back door is. It's just one of those. Got to figure it out. But go in there. We've been running the sheets for $2. You get Keeneland, and then you get some football plays. Is what we've been doing recently.
I'm just telling you right now, don't play my football picks. Play Louie's horse picks.
Well, that's probably right. And,
yeah, jeez, Pete. It's been bad. It's been bad. I felt really good last week about my picks, and they were. I think they were all bad.
If you buy any day this week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we'll give you a coupon code for our Breeders' Cup book that we're going to put out. It's going to be pretty developed. There's going to be several of us working on it, and so I think you're going to get a lot of good information. James Welsh will be involved. Kevin Kilroy will be involved. I'll be involved. I think we're going to do a great job with that Breeders' Cup book. We'll make sure that we get it out there. And again, horseracinghappyhour@gmail.com. If you ever want to get a hold of us, you can DM us at Horse Happy Hour on Twitter. We are very responsive, very happy to talk.
You are.
Louie is very happy to talk.
No, I'm happy to talk to people as well too. I'm not as much of a curmudgeon as Louie wants to make me out to be.
By the way, so last year at Keeneland, we had the tent.
Yes, that almost blew away.
But we had a great time.
Yeah,
we met a bunch of people. It was very fun.
Have we ever had a shitty time? We are now explicit.
Fuck no, we haven't had a shitty time.
No, absolutely not.
I expect very similar. We could post some pictures from where we are at Santa Anita. I think it's a little easier to get to the media than it is at Churchill, just because Derby's so insane and they block off sections and whatever else. And so I think at Santa Anita we'll be able to find people. And I've been told that the cigar policy is pro happy hour.
Nice.
So I'm into that as well.
I think at the end of the day, though, I mean, Derby or Breeders' Cup comes to Louisville. It's the biggest thing in town. Breeders' Cup can go to LA, and it's not necessarily the biggest thing in town, right? So,
yeah, okay.
And it's just what it is,
Yeah.
It's still going to be a great day. I'm really looking forward to being out to Santa Anita, first trip out there, and
I think it's going to blow up.
I haven't even checked. Have you checked the weather at all?
I'm not going to do that.
Is that because is there like a
Thursday morning I will pack for Santa Anita.
Okay.
I'm not. When you are from the Midwest, looking ahead to weather is a terrible idea. Now, I think, San Diego weather girl is probably the best job on the planet.
Oh yeah, because it doesn't change,
But I'm not going to look ahead. I'm just going to assume it's going to be mid 60s and sunny and awesome.
And we mentioned that we're gonna have a special episode Monday with James Welsh, talking about those turf races. And we've talked about this before in the show, but I want to get your opinion real quick to kind of just plug a little bit about what we're gonna talk about on Monday.
Sure.
West Coast turf and Kentucky turf is different.
And New York turf, and yes. Right.
And so I would assume that the West Coast turf runs a little bit harder. How's that played?
Well, it doesn't. It's sandy.
Sandy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a different thing there. So it's a lot more who's got the shallower steps essentially.
Okay.
So those West Coast horses come over here, and the grass is a little deeper. They don't like it as much.
Right.
It tends to be.
What about those European horses?
I don't know that it matters.
Very well, might not.
It seems like a simple thing to say, but
them European horses.
What happened to your television?
All right, so
is it the dog?
No. I made the decision. Like, we're in this outdoor streaming porch, and it's like, okay, you can spend like $3,500 on an outdoor TV. That's rated for out. That's how much outdoor TVs are. And I was like, well, I would rather just like have a TV that lasts for a year and a half, 2 years, and just keep on replacing it. And it's time to replace it. So it's literally behind us. If you look over your shoulder, it's right there. But it would like happen like all of a sudden, and honestly, I probably got a little lazy putting the cover on it and stuff like that. And it has more to do, I think, with the dust in here and all that stuff than it does with weather. Yeah. But I guess I have also learned that it is quite the fire hazard. So don't tell my insurance guy, Dan Hill, if you're listening. So
bleep off, Dan.
Yeah. That Dan Hill is Wise Dan was named for Dan Hill. I don't know if you knew that. Yeah. All right. We actually have a comment. We haven't had that in a while. So we got a listener comment coming in. I love it. Never mind. I don't think we're going to read that comment. Yeah. So, okay. Not that it was negative, but it was a Twitch, just kind of like spam comment. I do like getting those comments, but since we've been off Facebook, we don't get them nearly as much because you can't do it on Twitter. You can't do it. You can only do it on Twitch. So maybe I don't know. We'll have to have a strategy meeting with Zach about our streaming channels that we're on. So
well, there you go.
Okay. Anything else we want to add? We all good? We're paying the tab.
I think so, man. I know we have a ton of subscribers in San Diego, LA area.
Yeah.
If you happen to be out there, and want to, want to ping us and say hi or whatever while we're out there, would love to meet people. I mean, I really, we had a great time in Maryland. We got to meet a bunch of people, and so I'm hoping that same thing happens when we head outside. Yeah,
we're not shy. And you made like friends for life. Like in Preakness, you were like giving the people hugs and stuff like that by the time you were leaving. So it was awesome.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Of course.
It was awesome.
17 natty bows.
Well, we have the same kind of beer setup out there where we just go up there and grab beers.
I don't know.
Probably not.
Track.
Yeah.
$1,500 for an outdoor 55-inch TV.
Where'd you find that?
On Amazon.
Okay,
I'm sure I could find it cheaper someplace else.
The internet.
Yeah. I'll probably still stick with just replacing it every so often. TVs are so like just becoming. I'll just, where they end up. They end up in China somewhere. I don't know where they end up. They'll recycle them or something with it. So, all right, let's pay the tab. Let's get out of here. This has been another great edition. Maybe this might have been one of my favorite shows ever, Louie, of the Horse Racing Happy Hour.